So I do read the comments, and I was not gonna leave Anna hanging. This is how Anna found herself musically. And spoilers ahead. Just like with Elsa, if we're gonna talk about Anna's arc in Frozen 2, we're gonna have to talk about her in the first Frozen. And in that movie, all Anna wants is change. No, not that kind. The kind where you want things to be different.
Different? It's a good different.
But Anna's want song, Do You Want to Build a Snowman?
Do you want to build a snowman?
Is not about wanting to build a snowman. It's about wanting to build a relationship with her sister, much like another famous movie musical song about longing for family connection.
Papa, can you hear me?
Is it just me, or do you want to build a snowman from Frozen sound suspiciously like Papa, Can You Hear Me from Yentl?
It's not just you, Deadpool, I hear it too. But back to Anna, in her next song, For the First Time in Forever.
For the first time in forever.
Anna's excited about the castle being open for the first time in years. Anna can't wait to hang out with Elsa, meet a bunch of new people, and even fall in love with Prince Charming. Really, it just seems like Anna is in love with the idea of change.
Wow, am I so ready for this change?
And who better to embody the idea of change than the object of her original want song, Olaf the Snowman. And that's why all of Olaf's songs are about embracing change, even if that change probably wouldn't be very good for him. So doesn't this mean Anna is a character that just loves change? Well, not exactly. You see, Anna's willing to accept change, but only when that change is predetermined.
What if I meet the one?
She believes in the idea of a Prince Charming, and so that's why she falls in love with Han so easily. Never mind that he's only marrying her for her title. But Anna doesn't have time for pesky things like getting to know him because, well,
Prince Hans of the Southern Isles.
He fits the predetermined type of person she's already looking for. In other words, Anna wants change, as long as she's changing into a traditional Disney princess. More on that from my Disney princess expert, Annika.
Right now seems like a good time to note that Disney princesses don't really age. Don't get me wrong, I love Disney princesses. This is me when I was 8. And this was me last year. Anyways. Princesses do sometimes age in their direct-to-video sequels, but when it comes to the marketing and the audience's expectation, they will always be the same age as the first movie. For example, if you look at Rapunzel, she's known for her long, luxurious hair, and that's the version that Disney holds on to. Maybe I'm being too nitpicky, but in Ralph Breaks the Internet, somehow all of Rapunzel's magic hair grew back, even though a big plot point was Flynn cut her hair and it couldn't grow back. It just seems like Disney princesses get to a certain idealized state, and that's where they stay, which totally makes sense for marketing reasons. They have their characteristic gown, their signature hair, their castle, their man, and no mom.
I don't even have a mom.
Neither do we!
The idealized state is even built into their signature catchphrase, happily ever after. And of course, they stay in this idealized state without growing older or being promoted. I mean, how many Disney princesses actually become queen? If we're counting the Princess Diaries, Mia Thermopolis did. But in terms of animated ones, until Frozen. And we didn't just get one queen. No, sir, we got 2 queens. And even though Anna is seen as the more youthful, naive sister, Disney let her age. And the marketing for Frozen is not just going back to the version of her from the first movie. Anna's avatar on Disney Plus is her from the second movie, with a determined look on her face, I might add. The parks are also starting to use Queen Anna instead of Princess Anna, which is kind of a big deal. Disney is even selling a bunch of Queen Anna merchandise, complete with her new royal tiara, embracing her as older and wiser and as queen.
We wanted it to age with the viewers who first experienced this movie in the theaters.
But back to Anna. At the beginning of Frozen 2, she doesn't necessarily want to change anymore.
The gates are open wide and I'm not alone anymore.
I get it. If you're happy and you've gotten what you've wanted for a whole movie, why would you want to change anything?
And that's why in Frozen 2, Anna begins by singing Some Things Never Change.
Some things never change.
About how she wants her idealized state, as defined at the end of the first Frozen movie, to stay the same forever.
Together. Forever.
Which is a point of view contrasted by Olaf.
Do you ever worry about the notion that Nothing is permanent?
As silly as Olaf is meant to be, Anna could learn a thing or two from him about being okay with the messiness of change.
And yet change mocks us with her beauty.
Especially the unwanted kind, whether that means melting in the summer heat or being terrified of the forest. So it's fitting that Olaf is the one who demonstrates to Anna what the acceptance of unwanted change really looks like.
I just thought of one thing that's permanent.
What's that?
Love.
It's at this point Anna realizes she must accept the change outside of her control if she is going to move forward. And what better way of doing that than with this concept of doing the next right thing? A phrase which has a real-world history.
Do the next right thing. That's actually a mantra that I have when I am anxiety-riddled or get depressed.
Here's Annika with more on that.
Do the next right thing. This phrase is also commonly used in AA recovery programs and religious circles. And there's an organization called The Next Right Thing, which specializes in substance abuse and mental health treatment for adolescents. But this phrase can be very meaningful to anyone who's going through a difficult time. Frozen co-director Chris Buck lost his son Ryder while doing press for the first movie.
We'd like to dedicate this to our guardian angel. That's my son, Ryder Buck. Thank you, Ryder.
Thank you. Inspired by Chris's resilience during that hard time, Kristen Anderson-Lopez wrote the lyrics of The Next Right Thing, which Robert Lopez then set to music.
We said, can we put this in a Disney movie? And it was Chris and Jen who were like, yes, not only can we, but we must.
Now this seems like some heavy stuff for a kids movie, right? Maybe, but heavy can be important. Kids have hard times too. Sometimes their siblings won't play with them. Sometimes they lose someone they love. Or sometimes there's a global pandemic. And it's powerful for both kids and adults to see Anna at her lowest and understand how she gets back on her feet.
The song begins with Anna singing a melodic line that is reminiscent of the line she sang in Some Things Never Change.
Like an old stone wall.
Except this time, she's singing it now in minor.
I've seen dark before.
Things have changed, but that's only the prelude to the real magic of this song. The chorus of The Next Right Thing is a series of phrases going up followed by a phrase going down, a musical metaphor for the ways in which her preconceived expectations are challenged by reality. We begin with high expectations going up.
You are lost.
And then that same phrase, but with reality pulling it down.
Hope is gone.
And then again, with a more positive expectation that ends up.
But you must.
And then reality pulling it back down.
Go on.
And after this push and pull, when all of those preconceived expectations are stripped away, we're left with the resilience she had when she was a child, when the simple act of building a snowman was the next right thing. And that's why the melody of the words,
do the next right thing,
is basically the same melody as
do you want to build a snowman?
This wasn't in the movie, but in the Broadway version of Frozen, when Hans betrays Anna and leaves her to die, we see young Anna and Elsa running around the stage playing together. Anna is being taken back to how she felt when she was a little girl and just wanted to play with her sister. How she felt while singing Do You Want to Build a Snowman?
She's reaching back into the core of what she did when she was a child. But now, without Elsa around, she reaches within herself. The melody on the words Do the Next Right Thing demonstrates this very idea. This melody actually has two different versions. The first time we hear this melody, it's unresolved, ending on a second. In the most basic songwriting terms, a resolution happens when you land on one of the three chord tones. The first, also called the tonic, the third, or the fifth. And because the second is between the first and the third, usually it gets resolved by going down to the tonic or going up to the third, which is the resolution that makes Papa, Can You Hear Me? And Do You Want to Build a Snowman so similar. However, the second time we hear it, Anna ends this melody on the tonic,
Do the next right thing,
resolving the melody all on her own. However, underneath her resolved note is not the home key, but instead
the next right thing.
The accompaniment suddenly shifts key and becomes unstable. It's as if Anna is trying out this new independence for the first time and is now experiencing rapid change, almost like the ground shifting beneath her feet. This section of a song is known as the bridge, where the chords keep changing until we get us to a progression that leads back to a solid key. But because change is hard, Anna needs to make this change little by little, one step at a time. And before the bridge, she gives us a preview of what doing the next right thing looks like musically when, for 2 bars, she only sings the note G.
All that I can to...
Which seems like a rather mundane type of melody, but really, it's profound because it represents the act of simplifying, reducing a melody down to its essential element, a single note. It's even more significant that as she's singing these 2 bars, the bass beneath her is descending, threatening to pull her down with it. Earlier in the song,
Gravity, it pulls me down.
She actually did get pulled down. However, this time, after stabilizing herself on the G, and this is the key to the song, Anna resolves her G note up a half step to an A flat, successfully resisting the downward pull. That half-step increment is the smallest interval available to her musically. Quite literally, it's the next note up, and it becomes the model, the template for the type of change that follows. The end of the bridge section is a climactic turning point that cements the growth of her character. But this growth doesn't consist of her focusing on some big, overwhelming goal like saving the kingdom. Anna focuses on her breath, her next step, her next choice, which is to jump. Within the arc of just those 3 lines, Anna progresses from easy tasks to hard ones. The music underneath these 3 lines goes through a similar process from F minor to E major, which is kind of a big leap harmonically. But just as the simple tasks of breathing and walking led to her big jump, so too do simple half steps lead to a big musical change. Here's how it works. Beginning with an F minor, F, A flat, C.
Down to this next breath.
The F drops a half step down to E.
This next step.
Then the C drops a half step down to B.
This next choice.
Leaving Anna with a triumphant E major chord. Fittingly, this E major chord becomes the key for the rest of the song and is a half step up from the key of E flat that began the piece. Anna has musically lifted herself out of this hole, and she did it through the building blocks of the smallest steps possible. See, the bridge of the song acts as a metaphorical bridge to her more mature self. And with her newfound strength, Anna finishes the next right thing, singing the version of the melody that ends on the tonic.
The next right thing.
Except this time, the accompaniment doesn't swoop in, either to support her or to undermine her. She sings her resolution a cappella. In other words, she has learned to resolve this melody solo, without using anything else as a guide except for herself. In a way, this dropping out of the accompaniment mirrors the dropping out of the accompaniment every time Elsa sings
Show yourself.
And that's not the only way Anna's music is mirrored with Elsa. In the previous video, you'll remember that we talked about how the half step is an important motif for Elsa as well. We also talked about how Elsa jumps up an 11th from B flat to the E flat an octave up.
Into the unknown.
Similarly, as Anna is reaching within the depths of herself in the next right thing, her chorus also features a range of an 11th, but going down. And actually, it's the same 11th from Into the Unknown, the B flat to the E flat an octave up. Composer Jen Wong first tweeted this theory, but then worried, have I nerded too hard? Luckily, Kristen Anderson-Lopez replied, you have not nerded too hard. You nailed it. We wrote Into the Unknown right after Do the Next Right Thing, so yes, they are in dialogue with each other. And because they wrote The Next Right Thing early on, they knew they wanted this song to make a big impression and really land with the audience. And so Frozen 2 really sets up the importance of this phrase. Pobby first introduces the phrase to Anna.
When one can see no future, all one can do is the next right thing.
Which somehow resonates with her because even before she sings the song, Anna says the mantra in a dialogue scene.
Just do the next right thing.
Underscored by the melody of The Next Right Thing played on a French horn, which happens again when Anna learns the truth about the past. Perhaps more poignantly though, Elsa and Anna's arcs are both foreshadowed by a song their mother sang to them. It turns out Iduna might have been guiding the sisters through their arcs all along with the lyrics of her lullaby, All Is Found. Annika?
Okay, so Iduna is sending Anna and Elsa each a message. Let's break it down. At the end of the first chorus, she sings,
For in this river all is found.
So that part is clearly to Elsa, who, finds her whole identity in a magical river. But the line at the end of the song seems to be for Anna.
When all is lost and all is found.
Anna loses everything. But when she looks inside to find the strength to go on, she finds out who she really is and discovers a power she had when she was a kid. No, I don't mean jumping, although, wow, she's good at this. And not like Elsa's ice powers, although I did always wish Anna had fire power so they could be like the heat miser and the snow miser. Anyways, Anna's power is resilience.
That's right, Annika. We know that after the first Frozen came out, the director said that Anna's superpower was love.
Anna's armed only with love, and that's all she needs.
But that implies there's an object of that love. In the first movie, that meant Elsa, who was Anna's only remaining family member, and who was literally saved by Anna's love.
You sacrificed yourself for me? I love you.
But in The Next Right Thing, Anna is completely alone, having lost Olaf and by extension, Elsa as well.
I don't think Elsa's okay.
And she must learn to redirect her love not to another person, but to herself. In this way, Anna's love modulates into her childhood resilience, her ability to build herself back up. Because even when that task was too daunting, she knew she could get there by breaking it down into an easier task, like building a snowman. Though Elsa's arc of self-discovery is very relatable on a certain level, most of us will just never know what it's like to build an ice castle, or tame a water horse, or even crazier than that, nail the melodic leap of an 11th.
Jimmy!
But for the rest of us, realistically speaking, everyone has probably felt lonely at some point in their lives. We may face losing loved ones, friends, we may be separated by distance and disasters. It's in those daily realities where Anna's superpower, her resilience, is the lesson we can strive for on a practical level each and every day. Anna's arc reminds us to trust that the bridge from feeling lost to feeling found is there waiting for us. You just need to
do the next right thing.
Thank you all to my patrons, my subscribers, and to everyone watching this video. And a very special thanks goes out to my collaborator, Annika. I'm planning a lot of new videos on musical theater and Disney-related content, so please stay tuned and we'll see you back here. Peace.